David Haas has written many great songs. One of them, the Song of the Body of Christ. I invite you to sing the chorus with me now. That one. We have come to share our story. We have come to break the bread. We have come to know our rising from the dead. I started this way to remind us all that this journey of Lent that we're on, that we've been on every year of our lives, each time we enter this season, this holy season, we delve a little more deeply into what the meaning of the death and resurrection of the Lord means to us. And while we don't think of it all that often, this season is also an opportunity for us to reflect in wonder and amazement what our own death and resurrection will mean for us. God calls us on this journey. He's been calling us all our lives, and He blesses us on our way. This mysterious path that we take through life and through death until we're living with Him in this some sort of new resurrected life. It's the most astounding and most astonishing reality to imagine. You might say it's the mother of all blessings for us, among many blessings that we receive. And so the readings today are all about being called and being blessed. In the early part of the book of Genesis, we hear Abram. He's not yet Abraham. He's still Abram, being called by God to be the father of a whole new nation at the young age of 75. He leaves everything he's ever known, his comfortable, settled life, and strikes out to this new land. He has no idea where he's going, but he trusts that God will show him the way. And God tells him to not be afraid, not to worry. Many blessings will accompany him. He'll be blessed with many descendants, more than the stars in the sky. His name will be great, and the people who bless him will themselves be blessed. Blessings beyond blessings. These blessings which we all receive, which are gifts from God, which are promises from God, that we're not going to be abandoned. It's not that we earn them, because we don't. They're freely given to us, and all we can do is receive them with thanks. Because we've all been called too. That's why we're here. We're responding to that call, even if some days we just come here, maybe almost out of habit, and yet we're responding to God's call. And just reflect for a moment on the many blessings that each of us has received all through our lives. Blessings every day, every moment. Perhaps there were times in your life when you went through a difficult time. Maybe it was financial insecurity. Maybe it was the illness of yourself or someone that you loved. Maybe you just didn't know where you were going for a while. And then somehow, blessings came to you in some form or another. and you got through it. And maybe got through it stronger than you were before. I remember a time many years ago when our kids were still young, and I went through a time of almost seemed like being a Catholic, I was just going through the motions. Didn't know why I was going to Mass. I kind of lost my way for a while. But during that time, I had great blessings. One of them was my wife. It was always a blessing. But during this time, her steadfast faith, she never doubted where she was headed. Or if she did, she didn't tell me. But she was a pillar of strength for me. The other blessing I received was through C.S. Lewis, an author I had never heard of before this time. But for some reason, he came into my life, and I started reading his books. And he's been a great source of inspiration for me through the years. And then sometimes we look back, and even the difficult times themselves can turn out to be blessings that help us on our way. When I was I went to a Benedictine school for most of high school years. Not the favorite time of my life. Nothing against the Benedictines, but I think I would have liked the Jesuits better. Don't tell Joe Kenna, because he's a Benedictine. But it was a tough time. I didn't enjoy the school much. I didn't think the academics were that good. I had trouble with some of the fellow students that were there. I didn't quite fit in too well. But great blessings came down to me. First of all, I probably wouldn't be here as a deacon if it weren't for those Benedictines. And then, if I hadn't gone there, I never would have met my wife. She happened to be the girlfriend of my best friend. Funny how things work out. And it's funny how blessings come. But I think if each of us look back, we could probably see times like that we've gone through as well. Blessings are promises. The story of the Transfiguration is a story of a wonderful promise most of us maybe don't think about. It's a promise of our own transfiguration someday. Jesus calls his inner circle up on the mountain. And as Peter, James, and John were going up this mountain, perhaps they were thinking of their great ancestors in faith who also had amazing things happen to them on a mountain. Moses, who spent 40 days on Sinai receiving the law from God. Elijah, who was on Mount Horeb in that cave trying to discern God's voice and finally hearing it in that small, still, quiet voice. So there they are on the mountain, and all of a sudden Jesus, his appearance changes before them. And they're struck with awe and amazement and fear. And the fear only deepens, and the amazement deepens when they see Moses and Elijah there. They don't understand what's happening. Peter's babbling. And then they fall on their faces when they hear God's voice. This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. And probably you and I would act the same way if we were in God's presence. But you know, fear paralyzes us. Fear keeps us from thinking clearly. Fear causes us to fall on our face. And Jesus wants us to be fully alive so that we can continue to do his work, continue to bless others. And so he says to the apostles, and he says to us, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what you don't understand. Just trust that it's a blessing. I'm going to give you whatever you need on this journey of yours. I'll be with you through it. He tells us and affirms that we are the people of God. Just like the Jews, we are a great nation. We've been called to do great things, to be blessings for others. And we're promised to have everything we need on this journey. This journey of being blessings for others without fear. And God's promised us that one day we too will be in His presence. We too will be transfigured. And we will know in full technicolor, with all of our senses fully alive, what it's like to experience our rising from the dead. Sing the chorus again with me. We have come to share our story. We have come to break the bread. We have come to know our rising from the